Welcome back to Let's Clone. My name is Stephen French, and today we're going to be finishing up our Frogger tutorial, or Frogger clone tutorial. We don't have too much left to do. We just got to put the lily pads into the top, meaning we got to add the sprite and the object for them. Do some silliness with that because I was too lazy to find a clever way to make it work. And I fixed up the bug that we had in the code with the cars and logs kind of resetting their position. But let's just do it. Alright, so we're back in GameMaker, and what we typically have to do is we've got to add the sprite of the object that we're trying to put in. So we're going to do sprite, pad, lily pad, whatever you want to call it. Load that sprite, my desky, I think it's, yep. So I had it called finish at the first time I did this. We're actually going to leave this origin at the 0, 0 coordinate, and we're going to, yes, have, excuse me, the collision mask block covering the entire object or entire sprite. But we're going to come down to our objects, put it in our environmente, create object pad, give it that young pad sprite, and we're setting our depth to 2. Now I believe, if I am correct, that we only need to have, a draw. So we only need a draw event, and that's going to do really only one thing. Draw pad with and without frog, I guess. What we need to do no matter what is to initially draw the sprite itself. So we're going to draw sub, and then we're going to draw a sprite of the frog on top only if a frog has already been there. So what we're going to do is when we land on the pad, we're going to reset the player back down to the start, and we're going to draw a border object there so we can't go into that same pad. Since we know that we're going to have a border object over it, we're going to have a collision between the pad and the border, so we can use that kind of as our boolean for this. So if place meeting at x, y is same as object border, then we're going to draw sprite. I think we need a draw sprite extended. The sprite we're going to use is our sprite frog, which I just want to make sure because the picture doesn't show up until I open and close it. Yeah, he's facing to the right. So to draw the frog, we need sub image of 0. He's only got the 1. We're going to draw it at x plus 16 because the origin of the frog is in the center, and it's a 32 by 32 sprite. Y plus 16. X scale can be 1, Y scale can be 1. Rotation is going to be negative 90 or 270 because, again, rotating up would be 90. Color is going to be C white. Alpha is 1. The only reason we needed the sprite extended is so we could add this rotation. Otherwise the frog is just going to be facing the wrong way. But I think that is, that's everything we need here. Remember to have that depth of 2. Cool. Coming down to our frog, we need to let the frog know that he's landed on the lily pad. So we're going to add a collision event with our environment object pad. Throw in our script. And collision with pad. Cool, what did I do here? Alright, first thing we're going to do is reset frog position. That's pretty simple with x equals start underscore x. My screen resolution is pretty terrible because I have a really bad monitor, so if the underscores look like dots, if it breaks, try it with an underscore. Dot is usually going to be when you have an object and you're accessing a bit of information within that object. Like if we did object frog.x, we can get the x coordinate, but start x is just a name, it's just a string. So y is equal to start y. I believe I changed that up. Yeah, we're going to need to change the rotation. So image angle is equal to 90, because again, frog is starting out facing to the right. When we respawn, we want him to be looking at the street as he should. Then we're going to go down to, I guess I'm not going to comment it, but controller dot frogs on pad. Might be pads. What did we do? What did we do? What did we do? Where did I put it? Oh, controller. I forget what I called it. Yeah, frogs on pads. Get out of that. Frogs on pads plus plus. Don't need a space there. So when we hit this position, we're going to move the frog down, and then we're going to increment the frogs on pads so we're no longer colliding and we don't go up by more than 1 ever. I think, yes, and this is where we're going to create a border on top of that object. So instance create add xy object border. What I'm going to do for now is we're going to actually set borders. Oh, they are visible. Oh, cool. We're going to turn that off later, but it's what we want for now. So when we get to a pad, we're going to set draw a border over it. We're going to move the frog, and we're going to increase frogs on pads. We already did this part in an earlier episode where we did if frogs on pads is greater than or equal to 5, there's only 5 pads at the top, then we're going to trigger our win state. That's where you run the code if you're going to have a splash screen that showed you everything and more of that polish, but we're not really polishing this game up too much. Oh damn, that's all we got for that. So now we need to come in and add our young pads to the game. Object, whoops, object, environment, pad. So we need one at that spot, actually, let's put 32, and can we see our grid? We can. Good. So there's a pad every other space. Right now the frog would be able to jump in between these spaces, so we're going to do, this is the kind of annoying part, or rather the not attractive part. It looks kind of ugly, but it works, so I'm going to keep it. We're going to draw an object border, but we're going to draw it with a scale of 0.5. And where the fuck is the origin to that? I don't remember what I had to do for this. I think, oops, having an x of 8. Because I was hoping that would do what I wanted it to. 0.5. And is this? Yeah, so right in between the pads. You can copy, paste, it'll just paste one, overlaying it, and it will always paste overlaying the one that you copied. Why? Oh, you got changed to 0.5. I don't want you to do that. Yeah, that's what went wrong. That's really weird because I was selected on that. I didn't know it would handle it that way. Learn something new every day. All right, so now we have a red block there so the frog cannot jump in between the pads, and when we land on the pads, it should put a red block over it. Give that a quick shot. This should be a hella quick video. We didn't have too much more to complete. So if this works, we're going to set the borders to invisible, and we'll move on from there. I added a lot of cars because I was testing the collision. Oh shit. This game's going to be tough. I might have to remove some cars for the testing. Alright. Bang, 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 bang. What happened here? Oh, my beautiful bee. Let's come down to our, whoops. I made a goof. So when we draw the pad, here I drew the border at the frog's location. We can do this at the pad's location. So we could either draw this up here, which would be kind of smarter and easier. I'm going to do it the dumb way because I can. So we're going to do other dot. Other is just going to pretty much, other is assigned to the object that we are colliding with. Up here, if you were to take other, then everything would refer to the pad that we're colliding with. So, well, I guess the pad. And then typing other would then refer back to the frog. So if you have any really weird confusion, make sure that these are always ticked to self if you're following along with how I'm coding it. Yeah, so we're just going to look for the pads X and the pad Y, and that's where we're going to put the border. Let's try that again. I should have removed some damn cars. All right. See if we can get the frog to the pad. See what happens when we get all 5 frogs to the pad and go from there. Oh, definitely too many cars. Probably too many logs, but I'm okay with that part being easy. Good. So now there is a frog on top of that pad. That point is proven, so I want to see the frog to make sure that that part worked. And just so we're not having as annoying of a time. No. I'm going to put the frog up here for now so I don't have to deal with that. Run the game. Ooh. Now it would probably be ideal to put like a piece of grass or something that it would make sense that the frog couldn't land on there. You could keep that water, so if you miss, you die. That's not how the original Frogger is, although a lot of what I did isn't what the original Frogger is. But you can see a frog has moved up to there. We're going to get this next guy. Bang. And then I want to show you a problem that we will have with this. So we just got to change the, I don't think we fixed the collision code for the frog yet, for the between the frogs and the borders. But let's just get this one. Boop. Now what makes this one tough, if we didn't fix it in the last episode, is you can't hop all the way to the wall. The reason for that is, pretty simple, but If you're right next to it and you try to hop into the wall, it's going to check if 32 pixels to your left, if there's an overlap with the wall for how we wrote our collision, and it will not let you move. So we would actually prefer a pixel perfect collision in that. In that, we can do that in our frog, come down to our step, and then here we redo can't talk, our horizontal collision. This is what we're going to change. So we need to add a while loop, and what we're going to look for is while 1 pixel to the left or right, whichever way we're moving, if we are not colliding with the wall, we're going to move over 1 pixel, and we're going to do that in a while loop, so it'll keep happening until that condition reads false. So while place meeting is not, so again, like exclamation point place meeting, at our x plus the sign, this part is pretty important, sign of horizontal speed, explain that in a second, y object border. So x plus the sign of HSP is just going to give us a 1 or a -1. So if our horizontal speed was -32, this will be x plus -1, so it'll be x minus 1. And then we need to update the actual x position. X plus equals, again, the sign of horizontal speed. Hop back into the game, and ooh, I do want to upload this to GameMaker, and they care about the semicolons. Although I did speak to a moderator in the GameMaker forum, and it did seem that like GameMaker is considering requiring these now, and that's possibly why they require it to be in the tutorials. I don't know if he was just saying that, but now you can see if we try to walk to the left, we can actually get to the left and we can hop up that pad. Maybe not the most graceful way to do it, but it is a way that works. Let's just finish off these pads real quick and get to our win state. Bang. Yep, dose more. Come on. Frog on a log. And what's nice about the last one is the last one's going to be the easiest because we can actually just have the log push us into the side of the screen. Please give me. And you'll see that the frog will just get stopped. So going this direction, pretty easy. Just hop up and bang. You win. It updated the score before reading this just because we have it pop and then we have it update, but it has the updated score here, just not down there. If you feel like fixing that on your own, do it. If you can't figure it out, ask me. I could just give you the answer in the comments. But we've got a Frogger, just to show that that other collision, if you try to jump here, nothing happens. Here, nothing happens. Here, nothing happens because we threw in those little, the walls. The reason we made them half size is if you are really like almost on the pad, you want to like still make it if you're a few pixels to the right. If you only had a 32 like pixel gap, you'd have to have a pixel perfect jump, and that's super annoying. So I shrunk them down by half, so you have an extra 8 pixels on each side of kind of some leeway for the player to make it. But that is all we have for Frogger. There's only one thing I wanted to change. That was in our obstacle object. This is the parent of both our logs and our cars. We had an issue with the outside room. So a pretty simple fix. You have a different code here that is doing something silly with checking if it's overlapping and then trying to get the bigger width. All I've done here is I've put it inside of a while loop. So if we're doing a place meeting x, y obstacles, meaning that we're colliding with another object of the same type, then whichever one that is read first is going to do x minus equals sprite width. Now the sprite width, if you recall, we took the log of the car and we reversed it. So we didn't image x scale equals direction. So if direction was -1, we reversed the image x scale. That actually reverses the width, even though it doesn't quite make sense. The sprite is still 48 or however wide the car is, but it reads as -48. So x, we'll just take it in the cars that are moving to the left, moving with a -1 direction. It'll be x minus equals negative whatever their width is. So it'll just move that block 1 unit over to the right. If it's still overlapping, it'll call this again. So if you say we have car A, this car is reading the collision, it's going to move over. If it's still touching, it'll move over again, and now it's not. It'll kind of piggyback through that, even if it's a small car colliding with the large car. Should get out of the way. I haven't found this to fuck up in any way yet, so if you do, let me know, and I'll find an even better way to fix it. But for now, read that, put that in your game, you're Gucci. And that's really it. This is a super simple game. I didn't want to polish it. I don't want to do too much because I want to keep this as a very beginner-friendly. Again, if anybody asks me, I'll throw in a part 6 sometime in the future and try to polish it up, or with any questions you might have, putting in sound, putting in animation. It's all pretty simple stuff to do, but I will be covering more advanced stuffs. It's not even really that advanced, but just harder stuffs in the future tutorials. I have received some sprites for a Mario clone. I had initially made a Mario clone in GameMaker Studios 2. I wasn't too keen on it. I'm not too familiar with GameMaker Studios 2 at the time. Still not going to buy it, so I'm not going to be. But I will, this guy has given me all the sprite work for a Mario game, so I think I'm going to remake a Mario clone probably next, unless I find a more fun project. If not, Mario will be soon. But yeah, please follow along if you like this tutorial. Give it them thumbs. If you've got any friends that are looking into coding and they want to kind of play along with this as well, let them know about my channel, subscribe, and yeah, I'll try to be back soon with the start of whatever our next game clone is. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. Many thank yous. Have a nice day.